Hello friends. So we will continue after external ear with the tympanic membrane. Tympanic is a word related to middle ear cavity. Middle ear cavity has another name that is called tympanum. So the membrane which covers middle ear cavity from the lateral side, and if you say another way, a membrane which covers medial end of the external auditory meatus, external auditory canal. So that is our tympanic membrane. In this diagram, this is external ear cavity. It ends here, the tympanic membrane. This membrane is made up of three different layers: outer, middle, and inner. They have three different names and three different origin of embryo. That is three different germ layers. As you already know, ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So outer layer is cuticular. It is derived from the skin. So it is ectodermal in origin. Middle fibrous layer is derived from the mesoderm. Inner mucus layer, it is derived from the endoderm. So this inner mucus layer has secretory epithelial cells which will keep the cavity moist. And in the outer cuticular layer, the glands of the skin, that is sebaceous glands, also known as ceruminous gland, which will produce cerumen, that is thick wax like substance which will surround this external ear cavity. It is protective in nature. Uh, there are three different ossicles, that is malleus, incus, and stapes in the middle ear cavity. Out of that, we have malleus. The handle of malleus, it is projecting here. We will see in another diagram. This projection of malleus is producing one elevation that is known as umbo. This whole tympanic membrane is obliquely placed and it is making angle of 55 degree with this floor of the cavity. So in this diagram we can see various parts of the tympanic membrane. This is a view of tympanic membrane seen from the lateral surface after throwing a light source. So this is right side of tympanic membrane, this is anterior side, this is posterior side, this is superior, and this is inferior. So there is one cone of light formed from the umbo to the margin of the tympanic membrane. There are two different folds formed. This one is anterior malleolar fold, this is posterior malleolar fold. These are elevations on the upper part of the tympanic membrane. Between these two folds formed, the tympanic membrane becomes tense. So this area between these two folds, lower area, a larger area, that is called pars tensa, and upper area between these two folds is little bit less tense, that is a flaccid area, so called pars flaccida. So pars flaccida formed between two malleolar folds on the upper side, pars tensa, that is tense area of the tympanic membrane in the lower side of these two folds. Now imaginary line dividing from the handle of malleus downwards and one horizontal line like this. It is dividing this pars tensa in four different quadrants: antero-superior, antero-inferior, posterior-superior, and posterior-inferior quadrant. So whenever a tympanic membrane has something clinically that is termed according to quadrants. Similar quadrants you have learned in the gluteal region, gluteus maximus, and the tissue covering it. Now, middle fibrous layer is having two different types of fibers: outer circular fibers and inner radial fibers. Similar names you will have in the iris of the eyeball, muscles of the pupil. It will have radial and circular fibers. So here middle fibrous layer of tympanic membrane has similar structure. On the posterior margin of tympanic membrane we have oblique course and vertical course of facial nerve. This represents facial nerve. And the branch of facial nerve that is known as chorda tympani, it comes in the medial surface of tympanic membrane and it runs obliquely upwards and then it goes out and it joins with the lingual nerve, ends in the submandibular ganglion and supplies the salivary glands. So this is the course of chorda tympani through the middle ear cavity, medial surface of tympanic membrane. This is clinically important. It should not injure around the middle ear surgeries or tympanic membrane surgeries. It runs through pars tensa and pars flaccida both. And the openings of entry and exit, that is known as canaliculus. This is posterior canaliculus and this is anterior canaliculus. You can see in the middle ear sections these two different terms in schematic diagrams. Blood supply is deep auricular branch of maxillary artery and anterior tympanic branch of maxillary artery. One small vessel, that is stylomastoid branch of the posterior auricular artery. It is also supplying. Venous drainage is through transverse sinus and venous plexus of external jugular vein. Lymph nodes goes to preauricular and retropharyngeal nodes. Nerve supply of tympanic membrane, we have outer surface is supplied by auriculotemporal and auricular branch of vagus. These two we have seen in the external ear also. See, remember this diagram. This same branches supply external ear and the same branches will supply outer surface of or lateral surface of tympanic membrane. Inner surface of tympanic membrane is supplied by tympanic plexus. Now this is view after removal of tympanic membrane. This one is middle ear cavity. On the medial surface of middle ear cavity, this rounded area, it is having nerve plexus. This nerve plexus is formed from branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve. It comes from the floor. This branch is known as tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve. It divides, ramifies over this promontory, and this tympanic plexus supplies medial surface of tympanic membrane. Now this plexus will terminate in lesser petrosal nerve on the roof of the middle ear. It will go out, then it will have further course. Clinical anatomy of external ear and middle ear tympanic membrane. We'll see different points one by one. If you want to examine the external ear, it should be drawn upwards, backwards and slightly laterally. So your light source will pass properly and you can examine properly. The skin of the external ear is very much tight and firm. It is tightly adherent to the underlying cartilage. So boils or infection of this will produce little swelling and much more pain due to fixity of the skin. Uh, Irritation of auricular branch of vagus nerve has some different effects. It can reflexly produce persistent cough. It can reflexly irritate the stomach and increase the appetite, so you become hungry. It can also produce vomiting through stimulation of vagus and brainstem centers, and in worst come worst cases it can produce death due to vagal inhibition of the heart. Accumulation of wax, that is ceruminous secretions in the external ear, when it plugs or when it blocks the canal, it should be drained by a syringing process of the external ear. In case of infection by herpes zoster virus, infection in the nerve branch of the facial nerve and geniculate ganglion of facial nerve, it can spread from the facial nerve to the vagus and different branches. So the skin supplied by these nerves will have this herpes zoster in its typical infection pattern. Small pieces of ear lobule can be used for diagnosis of leprosy. This one is showing infection by lepra bacilli, leprosy. So this leprosy ear becomes nodular. So from this you can have lepra bacilli, that is called biopsy procedure. Cauliflower ear, when external ear becomes extremely fibrosed and there is hemorrhage, it usually is seen in wrestlers. When they punch multiple times and there is severe hemorrhage, this produces cauliflower ear. Conoplite we have seen in earlier diagrams. The procedure on tympanic membrane, when it is incised, it is called myringotomy. Myringo means tympanic membrane and otomy means incision, open and close. During this procedure, the care should be taken that coda tympani nerve is passing, as we have seen, from posterior to anterior canaliculus. So it should be taken care and not to be injured. If this coda tympani is injured, the nerve supply, salivary glands, submandibular, sublingual, it gets affected. And if there is cross union between these branches of facial nerve supplying salivary glands with sweat glands, then it will produce a different syndrome. Okay, so we will learn about middle ear in the next video. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and press notifications on so that you can get updates of the future lectures. You know that it is very useful in the corona unplanned vacation days. Thank you very much.